What if one of the most controversial healing methods in the world required you to do absolutely nothing? No food, no water, just your body, fighting to survive. Now most people hear that and instantly think, that sounds dangerous. And honestly, that's exactly why dry fasting has exploded across the internet. Because thousands of people are now claiming it helped them lose weight faster, reduce inflammation, improve mental clarity, break addictions, and experience healing in ways they never thought possible. To some it is reckless. To others it's an ancient wisdom humanity has forgotten until now. But here's the strangest part. The body contains hidden survival mechanisms that only activate when both food and water are denied. And one of those mechanisms forces the body into an accelerated repair state. So what's really happening here? Why are so many people suddenly turning to dry fasting for healing? And what actually happens to the human body after 12, 24, or even 72 hours without food or water? Because whether you believe in dry fasting or not, the movement is growing fast. And today, we're diving deep into why. Section 1. What is dry fasting? First, let's clear up what dry fasting actually is. Most people are familiar with intermittent fasting. That's where you avoid food for certain periods of time, but still drink water. Water fasting takes it a step further. No food, but water is still allowed. Dry fasting is different. Dry fasting means temporarily abstaining from both food and water. And yes, that's why it's controversial. There are actually two main forms of dry fasting. The first is called a soft dry fast. That's when a person avoids eating and drinking, but still comes into contact with water through activities like showering or brushing their teeth. The second is called a hard dry fast. That's a stricter form where even external contact with water is minimized. Now before you start thinking this is some brand new internet trend, dry fasting has existed for thousands of years. Many religious traditions practiced forms of dry fasting long before modern wellness culture began. You can find fasting traditions in Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and ancient desert spiritual practices. But today, dry fasting has entered a completely different world. Now it's being discussed by biohackers, health influencers, athletes, and people desperately searching for healing after years of chronic health struggles. This is because something unusual begins happening inside the body once both food and water disappear. Section 2. Why thousands are trying it. One reason dry fasting is spreading so quickly is because many people feel exhausted by modern health problems. Chronic inflammation, constant fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, digestive issues, low energy, and for some people, years of medications without lasting improvement. So when they hear stories about people experiencing dramatic transformations through fasting, curiosity takes over. Take Michael. After years of joint pain and inflammation, he stumbled across a video about dry fasting online. At first, he thought it sounded insane. But after researching it for weeks, he decided to try a short dry fast himself. The first day was difficult. Headaches, cravings, fatigue. But according to him, something changed on the second day. His mind suddenly felt sharper. His appetite dropped dramatically, and the inflammation in his hands reportedly started calming down. Now whether every claim is scientifically proven or not, stories like these are spreading everywhere. Some, dry fasting helped them break sugar addiction. Others helped them achieve rapid weight loss. Some say they experienced emotional clarity they hadn't felt in years. And many others are drawn to one specific idea. The belief that the body enters a deeper survival and repair mode during dry fasting than during ordinary fasting. But what exactly is happening biologically? That's where things become fascinating. Section 3. What happens inside the body? The human body is incredibly adaptive. And when food disappears, the body begins switching fuel systems. First, it burns through stored glucose. That's the sugar your body normally uses for energy. As glucose levels fall, insulin drops. And then the body starts searching for another energy source. Fat. This is where ketosis begins. Ketosis happens when the body starts converting stored fat into ketones for fuel. That's why many people report rapid fat loss during fasting. But dry fasting intensifies the process even further without water. And then comes one of the most talked about mechanisms in fasting, autophagy. Autophagy is the body's cellular cleanup process. Damaged cells, old proteins, cellular waste. The body begins recycling them. Many researchers believe fasting may help stimulate this process. And it is believed Removing water may increase biological stress enough to accelerate adaptation. But here's the most unusual part. The body starts creating something called metabolic water. This happens when fat is broken down during metabolism. In simple terms, the body can actually generate small amounts of internal water. This internal survival mechanism may partially explain why some people tolerate short dry fasts better than expected. Still, critics argue this is also where danger can begin, because dehydration risks increase significantly the longer a dry fast continues. And that's why this topic remains so controversial. Section 4. The healing benefits. So why do people keep doing it? According to supporters, the potential benefits are what make dry fasting so appealing. One of the biggest claims is reduced inflammation. Many people report less joint pain, reduced swelling, and relief from chronic inflammatory symptoms. Others are drawn to the rapid fat burning effects. Since the body enters ketosis faster, some fasters claim dry fasting accelerates fat metabolism more aggressively than water fasting. Then there's mental clarity. This might be one of the most commonly reported experiences. People describe sharper focus, calmer emotions, less mental noise, and an unusual sense of discipline and awareness. Some also claim dry fasting gives the digestive system a complete rest. No food, no digestion, no constant metabolic processing. For certain people, that temporary break feels deeply restorative. And beyond the physical effects, many describe something emotional and spiritual happening too. A reset, a feeling of control, silence, detachment from cravings. For some people, dry fasting becomes more than a health practice. It becomes a personal transformation journey. But there's a major reason experts remain cautious. And it's important we talk about it honestly. Section 5. Why dry fasting is so controversial. Dry fasting is controversial for a reason. The human body depends on hydration. Water supports circulation, temperature regulation, organ function, and electrolyte balance. And unlike water fasting, dry fasting removes hydration completely. That means risks can increase rapidly if fasting is done irresponsibly. Dehydration, dizziness, electrolyte imbalance, fatigue, kidney stress, and in extreme cases, serious complications. This is why many medical professionals strongly caution against extended dry fasting. There's also another important point. While fasting research is growing, large-scale human studies specifically on dry fasting remain limited. So even though thousands of people share positive experiences online, that does not automatically mean every claim is scientifically confirmed. And this is where many people make a dangerous mistake. They see extreme fasting challenges online, and immediately attempt long dry fasts without preparation. That can be risky, especially for people with medical conditions. Responsible dry fasting emphasizes gradual adaptation, education, and understanding your body. Because this isn't something to approach recklessly. Still, despite the controversy, interest keeps growing, and many people believe dry fasting creates a more intense healing response than water fasting alone. Section 6. Dry fasting versus water fasting. So what actually makes dry fasting different from water fasting? With water fasting, hydration continues. That generally makes adaptation easier for most people. Dry fasting removes that support system, and it's believed this forces the body into a stronger survival response. And ketosis happens faster, fat burning intensifies, and cellular adaptation accelerates. Some even call dry fasting on hard mode. But again, this intensity is exactly why critics remain skeptical. Because greater stress on the body can mean greater risks too. And honestly, this debate is one reason dry fasting fascinates so many people. Some view it as dangerous. Others view it as one of the most powerful natural healing methods ever practiced. And the internet has amplified both sides dramatically. Section 7. Real experiences people describe. One reason dry fasting continues spreading online is because personal stories are emotionally powerful. A woman struggling with bloating and inflammation says her symptoms dramatically improved after several fasting cycles. A man battling food addiction says fasting helped him finally regain control over compulsive eating. Another person describes experiencing mental clarity they hadn't felt in years. Now obviously, personal testimonies are not scientific proof, but stories influence people deeply, especially when someone feels desperate for healing. And there's one experience that appears again and again in fasting communities. People describe feeling mentally different after extended fasting. Not just physically lighter, but emotionally quieter, more focused, more aware, almost as if constant stimulation suddenly disappears. And that leads us into one of the strangest parts of this entire topic. Section 8. The mental and spiritual shift. For thousands of years, humans have connected fasting with spiritual transformation. Ancient monks practiced it, religious prophets practiced it, desert mystics practiced it, and today, modern fasters often describe similar experiences. Heightened awareness, deep introspection, emotional release, a sense of calmness. Dry fasting removes distractions so completely that the mind becomes unusually clear. And whether those experiences are biological, psychological, or spiritual, these experiences are profoundly real to the people experiencing them. In a world filled with endless noise, constant consumption, and non-stop stimulation, the silence itself becomes part of the healing. And one reason dry fasting continues attracting attention around the world, not just for physical transformation, but for emotional and spiritual reset too. Section 9. Who should never try dry fasting? Now this part is extremely important. Dry fasting is not suitable for everyone. Certain people should avoid it entirely unless medically supervised. That includes pregnant women, people with kidney disease, diabetics, individuals with eating disorders, people taking medications affected by hydration levels, and those with serious chronic medical conditions. Even healthy individuals should approach fasting carefully and responsibly. Because while fasting can be powerful, ignoring warning signs can become dangerous. Your health matters more than internet trends. Always remember that. Ending. So why are thousands of people turning to dry fasting for healing? For many, it's about weight loss, about inflammation, about mental clarity, about discipline, and for some, spiritual renewal, with the hope that the human body is capable of more healing than modern life allows. And whether dry fasting ultimately becomes widely accepted, or remains one of the world's most controversial wellness practices, one thing is undeniable: more people than ever are exploring the limits of the human body. Searching for healing, searching for control, searching for transformation, and that search itself explains why fasting continues to captivate humanity after thousands of years. If you found this video valuable, make sure to subscribe, and tell me in the comments, would you ever try dry fasting, or do you think it's simply too dangerous? And if you want to see what supposedly happens inside the body after 72 hours of dry fasting, watch this next video right here.